Hello, this is Scry Mine to bring you another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 game on Twisted Meadows with some pretty good players. I think this is an older replay, but it's going to be Crowjam playing human against his opponent Lag.TT.Touch. And notice that Crowjam has spawned at the bottom left and his opponent has spawned at the bottom right. So yeah, this is Crowjam is sort of known for, as far as I understand it, is known for using a really interesting strategy popularized by a player who went under the account name Angry Korea Man back in the day. I don't know if they're the same player. I don't believe they are, but at any rate, Orange is going to be going for a solo Blood Mage and pretty much skipping tier 1 units. Which a lot of times can be risky. It's going to require some decision making to sort of survive the early game and really take advantage of what he's doing in terms of teching and trying not to give up too much by teching without tier 1 units. So notice that Orange is going to go ahead and try to wall off one side of his base. I don't know if he picked this side for any specific reason. It does turn out that that's the side that Purple spawned on. But yeah, he's walling off the base here. He's leaving a lot of space though between his town hall and this wall of buildings, and he's going to throw up the towers between the wall and his town hall. This is going to be good, especially against Elf, because it's going to make it a little bit harder to do damage with ballista and huntresses and archers and stuff like that, a demon hunter. So this might have been a little bit more risky depending on certain hero choices. Maybe if he was playing an orc player, you know, you could wind walk past the towers a little bit and get to these peasants with such an open base build, something like that. But again, he's getting this tower very early, so it's going to be finished before this demon hunter can get here, I think. He might have been able to get there just a bit before it finished, but again, you can just quickly repair it. And but Purple instead is going to decide to creep these knolls. He creeps one of the knolls and peels off. He might should have just went ahead and finished it, honestly. So both players have scouted. Purple is throwing up a Hunter's Halt and a Ancient of War on this side. Gonna make it a little bit more difficult to attack from there, though Orange is not going to be attacking anytime soon with a real army since he's skipping tier 1. So he's really just going to be trying to harass a little bit with his Blood Mage, and what Purple is going to do is try to track down this Blood Mage. He probably knows this is sort of Crowjam's one strategy he likes to do, so he's trying to find that Blood Mage, and I think the Blood Mage ran over here to check out if Tree of Life was going up, and due to the timing, he just didn't miss that going up. Purple did not start it until the Blood Mage was out of the picture. So meanwhile, I think Purple is wasting a little bit of time here. He sort of misses the Blood Mage, and now he's seen him, and he's going to come back here and try to get some mana burns off, but he is going to run right past that Blood Mage and not hit him with a mana burn, which is sort of an oversight. And now the Blood Mage is going to get boots of speed, and he's going to be able to run away a little bit easier. Though the Demon Hunter is also going to pick up a boots of speed and a staff of teleportation. So we're just having sort of a fun time watching these heroes dance around. Now he finally did find this expansion. Really good intuition actually on his part, because he probably knows one of the main weaknesses of the strategy he's employing is if the opponent, since you're not really going to have much to pressure them, and investing in all these towers is not going to help you stop a expansion if it goes up. So fast expansion is one of the good way to counter it. Though Orange was able to get some damage on this Tree of Life, and also that has the positive effect of lowering his mana down to under 50. Which means Purple's not going to be able to hit him with too much damage from mana burn, as opposed to maybe 100 or 150 if he had full mana, or even more. He's only going to be able to get 50 damage off on him here. But the bad news for orange is this expansion is just, or this tree of life is just going to eat a tree, and it's going to be back up to pretty much full health. So again, he really is just distracting him right now. He wasn't going to be able to kill that since purple got there with his army, and so he's just running around trying to distract purple, and he's doing a really good job. Purple does not need to be chasing him all over the map, especially with his full army. He could have peeled off these huntresses and finished this green camp, or crept this camp over here, or either his demon hunter or his huntresses could have peeled off to do that, because with boots, it's just going to be chasing your tail around, and then if you really get him in danger of losing his hero, you can just staff it. So not too good. Now, I ran in here to check his base out, and these towers really prevented purple from really seeing too much. I guess he did see the. I guess he has seen the workshops here, so he can know a little bit what to expect. Again, if orange really wanted to get creative, and he knew that purple saw that, he could have maybe skipped the workshops and did something else. Maybe went ahead to tier 3 and tried to get, I don't know, knights or whatever he wanted to do. But workshops are really useful against elf in a lot of circumstances, especially the playstyle that orange is going to try to employ, because for one thing, and notice orange is going to go ahead and try to militia creep this. It's going to be a little bit harder without footmen and water elementals to tank, so he is actually going to lose some militia here, but he's going to get level 2, and it's going to be really important that he has access to this this goblin laboratory. Again, the shredder is going to be really useful, but also he's going to get a Zeppelin here. Now, he killed that Scout Wisp, and that might be one reason he actually did not finish this camp, is because the elf scouted him. Probably a little bit worried about getting creepjacked with all these low hit point peasants and his hero. And again, he doesn't want to lose that Shredder, definitely, so he's going to go ahead and come back to his main base. Finishing the Goblin Laboratory creeps, I don't think it would have gave him level 3, so while it would be good to have that experience and item, not going to be super crucial. So notice he's getting a flying machine to do some scouting. This strategy, like most strategies, it's very important to scout, but this strategy specifically, since you're giving up so much in the early game, as far as map control and stuff, is he's going to need to be really pick his timing and targets really well here for the harassment, because notice purple already has his expansion going up, and he's also teched pretty much just as almost, I don't know if it's quite as fast, but he's getting tier 2 units out right now, so or building, so he's got the ability to get tier 2. Notice he's already got a second hero. His hero levels are pretty much the same. Now orange got 3 mortar teams and a peasant and his hero loaded up in the Zeppelin, and he's going to move out. And he's also got a bunch of flying machines. Now the reason for those flying machines is to be ready to counter the counter to his Zeppelin harassment, which is going to be one of the most effective ways to deal with the Zeppelin harass with elf is hippogriffs, 1 or 2. If they don't have any gyros, one hippogriff is going to immediately take the Zeppelin out with ease, and then you're going to find yourself in some trouble. You could lose the Zeppelin over trees, or get your hero stranded somewhere in your units, etc. So he wants to go ahead and be ready for hippogriff riders when they start popping out, which purple was sort of wisely getting some. It also serves the purpose that if orange has straight tech to tier 3 and maybe cancel these, maybe try to get really creative to counter bears, or do griffin harass on base wisps and stuff instead, he would have had these anti-air units also there for that. So, but bad news for him is orange is pretty well set up for countering these hippogriffs. I'm not quite sure if purple expected this. He didn't seem to really expect to lose his hippogriff here. So now also notice one thing that orange did is destroyed these trees here with his mortars, which something that siege units, at least certain range siege units can do. And this is going to give Orange a few more options here. Notice this is a sort of the positioning of this Tree of Life is really bad for this situation, because being close to this cliff and these cliffs and this tree line here is going to allow Orange to sort of bomb his expansion at will, and he's going to have to move it or just lose it here. He's only got level 1 Breath of Fire, so he's not going to be able to kill those with just Breath of Fire without, you know, a few more castings. And so that is going to buy Orange some time here. He made him uproot that tree, and he's going to have to re-entangle it to start mining there. So, and again, a pretty decent micro Orange part. He is avoiding the Flame Strike on the flying machines, which can pretty much wreck them, especially once you start getting level 2 and higher on the Breath of Fire. But he avoided it for the most part. So right now, Purple is probably a little bit annoyed. He's going to have to run back and forth between his main and try to build up some more hippogriffs to deal with this. And Orange is going to take advantage of sort of the defensive reaction by Purple to go ahead and creep this island out, which is going to give him level 3 plus. And yeah, he's not really going to be in danger of getting creep-jacked at the moment, because you know, it'd be really risky for Purple to try to get a Zeppelin and come over here with his ground army. For one thing, you know, he's going to probably lose the Zeppelin to the gyros, and then, you know, Orange can just load into his Zeppelin and get away and maybe get Purple stranded or something like that. So he is going to lose some flying machines here. Not a whole lot he can do about that. It's probably more beneficial just to let one tank most of the damage, or a few, and let them die, because for one thing, upkeep, you know, he's really pushing against upkeep a little bit already. He's at 46 or 45 food right now. So again, I had seen this in a replay earlier. I didn't I wasn't doing the calculations in my head or anything to know that he was at that food count. But anyway, another thing with having gyros at half hit points against a panda, it makes it more likely that they could maybe get off a flame strike and kill all of them, as opposed to if you had fewer but they were at full hit points. Makes it less likely that he would be able to kill them in one shot and stuff like that. So again, he's going to go ahead and do that trick where he knocks the trees out and give himself some other options, which is going to mitigate the ground army advantage that Purple has. And he's just really going to be trying to slow down Purple's economy right now, because, again, he's got the expansion going. If he doesn't do something to neutralize that economy advantage, he's going to find himself in some trouble here. So notice he is trying to avoid the Breath of Fires as much as he can. He actually killed this entangled part of the gold mine, which was good for him, and now he's going to come over and he's going to stay there actually and keep hammering on it, which he really needs to do, because his army is in no way able to now this is really good. He ran over here and killed the Zeppelin. That's going to be a pretty significant loss actually. 240 gold, you know, it's not, I mean, it sometimes isn't crucial, but you know, every little bit counts. So it's going to sort of prevent Purple from getting to this expansion for a bit, and doing a little bit of other creative things he could do. So he's going to have to buy another Zeppelin. He's going to come over here to this expansion, and in the meantime, he actually did manage to kill one of the mortar teams there, and he did hit several of the gyros with a flame strike. So he's sort of getting himself in position to retake air control. He really doesn't per se need to kill this right now. It definitely hurt him that he was over here and not TPing immediately to this base. He's going to lose his expansion, and Orange just wasn't finished, so he just canceled it. He only lost half the resources. And another mistake that Purple did was notice that Orange's DPS was mostly mortar teams. He did have flame strike and his hero hitting, but if he would have uprooted that tree earlier, he would have avoided a lot of extra damage from the mortar teams. And especially when there's an army of nothing but siege units and maybe a hero, it's going to be beneficial for you a lot of times to uproot again, you're going to have to re-entangle if you do that, but if you lose the expansion as opposed to potentially saving it if you uproot, it's definitely going to benefit you more to save it, because if you have to rebuild it, then you're still going to have to re-entangle it. So clearly wanted to save that if possible. He was a little slow to TP, and he didn't uproot until sort of the last second where it was too late to matter. Not sure if he would have saved it. Orange actually had a potion of restoration, which would have pretty much guaranteed him to be hitting another flame strike level 2, which might have been enough to make up the difference there. But so notice he has switched to knights. One of the crucial things, not in any game pretty much, but with this strategy specifically, if you're going to be running around with sort of an army that can't really engage battles, you're going to need to take advantage of sort of other methods of attack. Notice if you ran to the purple with this army and tried to fight his army, it would just be a rout. So he's really just going to be sort of hitting or running, which is usually a good idea, especially if you have mobile units. And the elf really doesn't have, if he had some dryads, he might be able to sort of mitigate this. If he had some dryads in his main, these knights wouldn't be able to run quite as much, though he is going to be able to chase with the demon hunter and everything. So, and he does have breath of fire if he can actually hit these knights to slow them down. But notice Orange is not going to have to TP here. He can just run, and he's going to be fine. And now the economies are sort of back even, because purple, while he's expanding again, it's not going to be getting up for a while. And in the meantime, Orange is adding in some casters here. So he sort of switched off from the mortar harass, because again, with the hippogriffs out there, he's not going to be able to sort of do the same thing with a zeppelin. So he switched to knights. He's got 2 attack upgrades on these knights, which is going to allow them to sort of function as a raider, because they have fast move speed, and with the attack upgrades, they're actually going to be doing substantial damage to let him do these hit and runs. And he's got a staff of sanctuary, so not going to really risk losing the knights. Now, one thing I like to point out about melee units in general, but specifically the knights here in this game, is that they are not going to suffer the same damage reduction against heroes and buildings that piercing units do, which is going to be very good in certain situations. For instance, like I said, it's going to allow him to be pretty effective at hit and running buildings with these knights, which otherwise would seem a little bit silly to try to do. But purple's army is really slow. All these bears are going to have average move speed. So while Orange, maybe doesn't want to quite engage the bears yet with his army, he has a few more options. Whereas if purple wants to do that hit and run, he's going to have to commit a little bit more to going into a base. Plus, Orange's base is a little bit better set up to defend that with all these towers and masonry. Well, he doesn't actually have any masonry upgrades, but with all these towers and walled off stuff. So this was sort of one of purple's big mistakes, I believe. While he's not actually going to lose any units here, this is not a good target at all. All these towers are going to be hitting. They're not going to be getting any kills, but killing a farm and 2 towers for a TP is maybe break even. He's going to take a ton of damage on his hero. Notice with slow and all these 3 attack upgrades on the knights, they're going to be able to actually try to snipe this demon hunter down and do a great job. Which again, in a lot of circumstances, you're not going to want to focus a demon hunter with evasion, but Orange was able to do it, and he forced a TP, which probably was the last thing purple expected to happen right there. And again, notice while he did that, Orange was throwing this expansion up. Clearly, that would have been the best target to hit with his army just then, because he wouldn't have had to deal with the towers, and he probably, if he wanted to, could have just AFK'd his army on the peasants and the town hall and canceled it. I don't think he had scouted that before he pushed. Would have been important for him to know that. Now, notice that Orange invisibled his entire army. Now you can do this with adept sorceresses with human, which is going to let him do a little bit creative here he's gonna use, like I say, he's gonna use these knights like raiders. If you're amassing raiders, one thing you could do would be to run in here and hit buildings. And so orange is going to do that. He's got level 5, which means his flame strike is going to be very, it's going to be a significant threat to buildings now, and also any repairing wisps are going to just get vaporized. Even level 2 would instantly kill wisps, but level 3 even quicker, sort of just a little bit, you know. But really, the damage on the building is what is going to do. So purple really doesn't have any kind of option here. He's got to try to save this tree. Maybe not. You know, he might have just sort of sacrificed it without repairing it at all to keep his wisps alive. Notice he lost like some insane number of wisps, probably like 6 or so wisps just to the flame strikes, and he still lost a tree. So, and now he had to run back with his army. One reason that was able to happen was because purple did not have a TP on his heroes, so he had to decide between you know, staffing and teleporting back one hero and then trying to sort of makeshift, you know, get his army back there, which you know, was not going to be enough. I don't know if his army was there, if it would have made all the difference to save it, but he definitely would have been doing more damage if his whole army was there. So in any case, and again, he could have mana burned the blood mage to maybe stop some of those flame strikes, and he's going to go ahead and run in and get his demon hunter surrounded. Excuse me. So now orange has a mortar team. He's bringing up the shredder. He's got some breakers. This game is pretty much over, as you see. And if we take a look at the score here, the economies were essentially even in terms of gold mined. The upkeeps were also similar. 300-ish more gold for purple, and he lost about maybe 150 so gold from upkeep. So he had a very slight, in terms of gold mined, he had a very slight advantage in that sense. Now, if we look at hero kills, you know, purple lost his hero right at the end, so didn't make, you know, getting his demon hunter surrounded on that one push, or, you know, forced to TP was pretty important. But again, that was mostly purple's mistake to push the towers, I think. Notice the units produced pretty similar. Purple produced a few more units, probably wisps. I think that he had to replenish, and units killed. He actually killed quite a bit more units than orange. Buildings raised, though. Orange killed one more building, and 2 of those buildings that he did kill were trees of life, so those were pretty crucial buildings to lose or to take out, depending on your perspective. And yeah, so in the hero level, hitting level 5, pretty good. Though, you know, oftentimes a solo blood mage against a demon hunter and a panda, usually, you know, you're going to have to avoid a straight out fight for a large portion. If he got Phoenix, maybe it would have been a little different. He could have afforded to fight because the Phoenix is so strong. It does one of the highest DPSs in the game, and it's magic immune, and it's going to be doing sort of passive damage to everything around. So, you know, it's really going to melt through bears pretty well, and also he can do sort of harassment with him if he wants to harass wisps, entangle gold mines, etc. So, you know, level 6 would be really strong, but before then it's going to be pretty difficult to fight actual battles with a blood mage against these heroes. And orange sort of played around this by avoiding purple pretty much the entire game in terms of his actual ground force. So this is one thing you can sort of try to do. Again, you're gonna have to be really good with scouting and you know, micro and everything to get away with going solo blood mage and skipping tier 1, because you know, orange would have been a little worse at scouting, played a little worse on the Zeppelin harass. You know, losing those mortar teams before he did enough damage would have been huge. You know, if purple would have built his expansion a little bit further away from the cliffs, you know, would have prevented the sort of cheesy sort of Zeppelin drop on the cliff thing that he did. And, you know, every little bit, you know, sort of added up to Orange being able to, Crowjam there, being able to take advantage of the timing to get up to Knights with 3 attack upgrades, and then come in as if they were Raiders and hit buildings. You know, the melee is going to, you know, like I said, it's going to do more than piercing against heroes and heroes fortified armor. So one sort of advantage that melee enjoys over piercing, a lot of times piercing range is going to be useful because they don't have to all get around the unit close enough, so they can just sort of focus fire at will a little bit there. So, but anyway, this has been sort of a unique strategy that Crowjam has really honed to be able to do it well against good players. And you know, you can sort of emulate it if you want to, but like I say, you're going to need to react differently depending on certain things, as with any strategy. Like the expansion, he needed to sort of slow that as much as he could, and he needed to know where that was so he could harass it quickly. He didn't want to run the gyros into the panda, or maybe get harassed with ballista or something like that in the early game. He wanted to know at all times pretty much what he needed to expect from his opponent to avoid getting surprised. And I think Purple pretty much expected what Orange did for the most part. A few things he could have did differently. You know, early game crept. Maybe split his army and crept instead of using it to chase his whole army to chase the Blood Mage, when it was really pointless for him to do that with everything. And yeah, not building so close to the cliffs. Clearly, he didn't want to do that again. So hopefully, you enjoyed this game and got some sort of knowledge about how to both use that Blood Mage strategy and also some things to avoid doing if you see somebody doing that strategy. You know, it does have weaknesses, and you can try to take advantage of them if you play somebody doing that. So, this is Scrymind signing out.